Welcome back to the gun dungeon, guys. Got another reloading and rambling for you here today. It is currently rifle season for white-tailed deer where I'm at, so I thought it would be pretty cool to do a reloading and rambling talking about some hunting stories. So I want to hear yours as well, so be sure to hit the comments here. But I've got three, I think, that are, they're different. So I'm going to do them in three categories. I'm going to do one that is bad, a bad hunting story, one that is funny, and then we'll do one that is a good hunting story, a positive one. So negative, funny, and then positive. So we can go ahead and start. I'll share my negative hunting story, and yeah, it comes with losing a deer, unfortunately. I wasn't very old. I started hunting on my own when I was around 11 years old. I didn't really have anybody in my family that were hunters. Nobody really knew enough about it to teach me anything, show me anything, so I kind of just went at it on my own, not knowing a whole lot to start with, which is not ideal. But one of the worst stories that I have, I ended up taking a shot at a deer. I was on property. I was allowed to hunt, but I wasn't super familiar with the property, the area. I didn't have smartphones, nothing like that. Nothing like that existed then. And I ended up taking a piss poor shot at a deer. And, I don't even really know if I'd killed very many at this point. Didn't really know a lot about tracking. Didn't know a lot about much of anything, really. So just put your mindset in, a young kid that don't know jack about jack, out here doing this. And that was me at the time. But made a pretty bad shot and didn't have much of a blood trail at all. I was using a 30-06, so I know if it would have been a good shot, would have had a good blood trail. But the fact that I didn't have much of a blood trail tells me it was a really bad shot, and the fact that there wasn't no deer for a long time, which leads me to another bad part of the story, is I was trying to track this deer, more following, disturbed leaves and paths that I think is likely for them taking. Now, remember, I'm a young kid, don't know a lot. And every now and then I find a little speck of blood, and I would circle back, try to find the trail of blood. There really wasn't a trail of blood, but occasionally I would be following a trail, and I'd just be walking circles trying to find a trail or blood or something. I'd find a little speck, so I'd know I was kind of on the way that I needed to be going. And this went on for a long time, and it's really cold during this time. I'm not exactly dressed well to start with, and I'm carrying this gun, and like I said, I'm small, and this is a full-size, I forget what it was, I think it was like a Savage 110, full-size, probably 24-inch barrel, 30-06, which was almost as long as me at the time. I'm carrying this thing, I'm beating it through the brush, beating it off the ground, I'm having to crawl through briars, I'm out of breath, my chest is hurting because it's so cold, I'm out of breath, and then I realize, I don't know where I'm at. I no longer have any idea where I'm at. My only option is to try to backtrack myself. And I just said I've been crawling through briars, dragging a rifle through them, everything you can think of as far as rough, just underbrush, cattle farm type terrain that isn't bush hogged. That was where I was trudging through at the time. And I remember I was following my way back, trying to find my way back, and I came across a barbed wire fence. And I was like, I didn't cross a fence, so I know this isn't the way that I came. And at that point, all hope was lost. I knew I had not only lost my deer, but I'd also lost my way, and I'd lost my own trail back. So I was distraught at this time. And the only thing that I could think to do was, and I'm alone, no cell phone. Like I said, I don't even know if there were probably cell phones back then, but not very many people had them, especially where I live. The only thing I could think to do was just, if I keep walking straight, there's not really much of a chance that I don't run into something. So I remember I kept walking, kept walking, kept walking. I found a creek, and I just started following the creek. It's got to go somewhere, right? So I end up walking out of this holler where the creek was, and there was a house. And I was like, oh, thank goodness. Finally found a house. And the only thing that I could do when I saw the house was, I thought, well, I can knock on the door and I can call my mom and papa, and they can come get me. Maybe these people can tell me where they're at. Of course, no one was home. So here I've been in the woods for who knows how long now. This was a morning hunt, thank goodness. Who knows how long I've been gone. But nobody was home. This was the only house, but there was a road. So I was pretty well saved at that point. But I remember thinking, oh man, I am dying of thirst. And they had a water hose outside. So I borrowed some of their city water. I think it was city water. But that water from that garden hose never tasted so good. It was one of the greatest tasting things I'd ever had in my life, with that stranger's house garden hose. Whoever you are, I appreciate it. Thank you. I'm saying thank you now. But that was probably one of the most scary times I've ever had while deer hunting, other than the time I got treated by a bobcat. But it was definitely, all hope was lost when I hit that fence. I was like, I have no idea where I'm at. But things like that can be dangerous, especially when you're young. If something would have happened to me, I'd have twisted an ankle or anything like that. It could have been bad, but you don't think about that stuff when you're young and dumb. So yeah, that's probably one of the bad ones. And not making a good shot, losing a deer, that's always terrible too. Sometimes it happens. We should do everything we can to prevent that from happening. And I learned a valuable lesson in all that. Several lessons actually throughout the whole course of all this. But yeah, it was definitely an experience. So, a funny one. I was pretty young whenever the funny one happened too. And I was it's more embarrassing probably for both parties than anything. I was sitting in a tree stand. I was at my mom and stepdad's place in in some pretty hilly terrain, not a whole lot of vision. You couldn't see a whole very far, pretty woodsy area. But I was sitting on top of a ridge, and there was an old mining road that went around this side of the ridge out to the point and back this way. And I'm sitting here looking straight down the point in a tree stand. Probably at this time I was anywhere between 13 and 15 years old. But I'm sitting there in the stand minding my business. It's rifle season, of course. I've got all my orange on. So I see some orange coming to my side here. And they're down on the mining road on this side. And it's our property. It's private property. So I'm thinking, well, what in the world? There shouldn't be anybody here. But I'll just kind of watch them and make sure that they don't go into where I'm hunting. Just kind of keep an eye. I wasn't really planning on running them off or nothing. So I'm watching, I get my binoculars, and I kind of look down and see what it is, and I notice, oh, that is my neighbor's wife. So I knew who she was. I've spoken with her many, many times. Recognized her, and I was like, oh, well, I'll just let her be. So I'm watching it in the binoculars, and as I'm kind of watching, making sure I don't really want her to go out to the point. I'm debating whether or not I'm gonna give a whistle or something. Her back is kind of to me because she's walking down the road. Debating whether I'm gonna give a whistle or a sound or something to keep her from walking to that point, because at that point there was a pine thicket that I was watching for him to come out of. And so I'm just kind of watching her with my little 4-power binoculars, and I see her eyeballing this log that's on the side of the road. It's just a down tree, about knee high or so. I think y'all might see where I'm going with this. And then I see her start reaching for her belt. And I was like, uh-oh. At this point, I put the binoculars down. I see we're dropping trowel here. And I'm like, okay, I'm embarrassed. I don't know what to do. Do I make noise? Because it's already kind of late for that. Or we're already... So I just kind of mind my business and just kind of wait. So I'm sitting there in the stand, just not knowing what to do, just looking down at the ground, hoping this moment goes by as quickly as possible. And then I hear, oh my God, the business had been done. She had dropped her deuce, had taken care of business, and had turned back to come this way, and then saw my orange and realized what had happened. And at that moment, I think both of us were very, very embarrassed. And I just decided I would throw a hand up and turn away and pretend that I never saw her ever again. And that was the end of that moment. But I have no idea what direction she left. I don't know if she continued this way. I don't know if she went the way she'd come. We never spoke of it again. And we did meet several times again outside of the woods after this, and neither one of us said a word. I don't even know if she knew it was me at this point, but yeah, it was a very, very awkward moment, especially for the young kid. And for those of you thinking, no, you probably enjoyed seeing a woman. No, but let me tell you. No, but no. It wasn't anything like that. So, moving on. The good. Now, this is my favorite hunting story. And fortunately, I get to share it with you because I captured the critical moment on film. And this was the first deer that my daughter ever took. And guys, let me tell you, you may take some monster bucks in your life. You may have moments of deer hunting where your blood is just pumping, your heart's racing, the adrenaline is flowing through your veins, your breath is shallow and fast. But there's nothing like when you're sitting there with your kid and a buck walks out, their first deer, their first buck, and they're getting ready to take a shot at this deer. I'm telling you, there's no adrenaline like it. And you almost feel helpless because you want them to succeed so badly, but you can't do it. So you feel like you can't help them do it other than whatever you've trained them to do up to that point. However you've taught them, everything that you've instilled in them is leading up to that point, and there's nothing you can do at that moment besides watch. And it is gut-wrenching. And I'm going to show you the video here. She was 8 years old, 300 blackout rifle. I had trained with her, taught her how to shoot, how to use a red dot optic. She still uses this rifle today, and she's 15 years old. She's taken many deer at this point, but she done everything she needed to do. And whenever you're watching the video, like I say some stuff that don't even really make sense and when I'm whispering to her because I'm just tore all to pieces. But pay attention to after the shot, the breathing that you hear coming from old dad here. Yeah, that was me. That wasn't her. I was definitely way more nervous than she was. So I'll just roll that now. So Allie just got her first buck. We just heard him crash about 30, 40 yards that way. What do you think? Time to do some tracking. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed that, guys. That was the peak of my hunting career right there. So when she laid that buck down on the ground, and Oh, I was tore up like a can of crap, boys. Let me tell you, I've never taken a deer and been that excited or that had that much adrenaline pumping for any game I've ever taken. It's a total different ball game when it's your kids. I'll just say that. So I got to actually show you my favorite hunting story. So let me know your all's favorite, your funny ones, your bad ones. Let's hear them in the comments. I love these types of stories, guys. So hope you enjoyed the video. Until next time, guys, stay tuned.